Hi, welcome to another episode of Michelle Creations. Today we are going to create a little trio of dragons to match the egg that we did in the last video. So if you watched this episode when I made this egg, we're going to use the same colors and the same methods to create these little dragons. And I already have one done, and I'm going to give you a quick sneak peek because he's so stinking cute. This is the first one we did. I did the chameleon flakes for the scales on his belly, and then I used the chameleon powder for his body. So, and I even did the tips of his spine spikes, if you will, in a different color, as well as his little horns. So he turned out so stinking cute. So what I have done is I have gone ahead and coated the interior of this one, and I'm just going to tell you how I did it instead of sitting here and making you watch me how I did it. So our first one, we used the Nodway. It's from Amazon, and this is the blue purple. That's the one that we used for this little guy. And I want to try and keep them all kind of in this blue purple family. So we used that one on him. And then that's the See No Evil. And this one is our Hear No Evil. You can see he's got his little ears covered. And for that one, I used the purple sky blue. So we're staying again in that kind of blue, purpley blue colors. Okay. And then our third one that I don't have covered yet is our Speak No Evil. And he is going to be done in the blue cyan. So all three of them are kind of going to be in that same family. All of their bellies are covered in the same, no, they're not, but they're all covered in the Let's Resin chameleon flakes. Our first little friend here was done in the lime. Whoops, I just stuck my hand in that. This is in the lime blue chameleon flakes. And this one, to stay kind of in that family with the purple and sky blue, I did the violet blue chameleon flakes. And then I'll get a chameleon flake to match his coloring on his belly as well. But you can tell that it really doesn't matter. They're all going to have that shimmer, and they're all going to reflect at least one of these that come off of the egg. So, in order to get those, this little guy was probably the easiest of the three. And I have to tell you that the hardest part is probably the horns, these two little horns, and the spike on his back. So the horns, if you get down in the mold, I use this smaller tip brush. And for the horns, I'm using this purple golden color mica powder, chameleon mica powder. And all I did was I dipped it into the powder, and then into the mold, I dipped it clear down to his, and you can see that it overflowed just a little bit into his ears. I'm okay with that. If you're a perfectionist, you probably won't be, but I'm okay with it. But I went down into the mold, into his horns, and put lots of powder in there, but you had to be careful because right here, this portion of his horn opens up to his ears right here on the inside of the, I wish I could show it to you, but there's no way I could get you in there. So when you're coating this, you got to be super careful to keep it off of his ears. Otherwise, you got to go in there and clean his ears with a micro brush or something. But I didn't get enough on there to mess with it. And then the same thing on his little spikes on his back. Again, you just go into the mold, push the brush, and I get it well loaded. Not so much that it's flaking everywhere as I go down inside the mold, but get it on there, tap it off just a little bit, and then I just go down straight into that mold, and I just smushy around in that mold into those spikes, and that's how we got this coloring on the tip of the spikes. So that's how I did that. I did those first, and then the next thing that I did is I used my bigger brush, my favorite brush for doing this, and I dipped it into the chameleon flakes. Remember, the chameleon flakes will, they're very staticky and will attach to your brush pretty easy. So you just hover over the flakes. My tremors are really bad. I'm sorry. It's really bad today. Hover over those flakes and then tap it off. And that's why I'm glad I've already done this part, or I wouldn't be doing it right now. And then here's his belly. And then you just go down in there and I just shove it straight on his belly so that attaches to his belly, and then spread it from there. Because you don't want to just immediately start brushing. Otherwise the flakes will floof inside the mold and then you'll have the chameleon flakes all over in the inside. So I did that portion of it next. And then the last thing that I did is I mixed up just a tiny bit of black resin and I laid him on his side. And I don't know if you can see down in there. But I took, try and let you see. I don't know if you can sort of see down into the eye there. So I took him some black resin and I just took some on the end of a coffee stir stick, so they're a lot skinnier, and just dropped it down in his eye and left him on his side so that when he dried, it dried down inside of there. So you can see I got both of those in there. Okay, and those are made of resin. So that's the only portion of this dragon that I have done so far. I have not done any of the mica powder. I'm not going to go through the mica powder with this one with you because you know how it gets done. I just wanted to tell you how I did mine. And then once I had all of that done, then I took the color of my dragon, because you can be as sloppy as you want to now. And I dipped my brush in there and I just slopped it in there, and make sure you shove it down in all of the holes, because you're going to want these wings here. Unless you want that in a different color, you're going to need to go way down inside that mold to get it into the wings. Same thing with the spikes, because you're going to want color clear down to, you're going to want it to cover anything that you didn't get covered on the gold. And then in the tips of his ears, you're going to want to be able to get it clear down in there. I had to fold his nose backwards so I could get the tip of his nose all colored in. You're going to want to get it between his toes. There's just a lot of pieces. So you want to make sure you spend a lot of time on him, getting into all those intricate little pieces of this mold with the brush. And you might ruin your brush. I've pretty well demolished this one. So, but you just want to make sure that you, especially down in these wings and those pieces that are super thin, you know, you just want to make sure you get down in there and just shove it down in there and pack it in there. And then when you're done, I just tap it out and make sure that you get as much of it out as you can. It's not going to hurt anything. It's just going to float to the top, and you'll have blue on the very bottom of him. Whereas this one's black, yours will be a little bit blue there if it doesn't all get mixed in. Okay, so I have my resin already mixed up. I did run it through my debubbler so that we would have as few bubbles as humanly possible. Now, I don't know if it hurts anything. I haven't found that it has so far, but I spray alcohol down into it to kind of help get as many bubbles out of this mold as I possibly can to keep, come on, there we go. And that's to keep bubbles from forming down like in the tips of his tail and that sort of thing. All right, and then we're just going to pour it nice and slow. And I know my tremors bother some of you, and I'm sorry. I have no control over it. It is completely medical, and if you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. I'm just watching to make sure that it gets down into his nose. And then once it gets up past his neck, I'll take a break here and I'll squish it just a little bit to make sure that it gets down in his fingers, especially up in here into his ears. Squeeze gently though, because you don't want to take that mica powder off of there. So I just give him a gentle little squeeze around his ears and a little bit around the tip of his wings, because we want to make sure you got resin clear down in there. We want to try and avoid as many bubbles as possible. This is also a point you're going to get a lot of bubbles. So I like to bring his nose down to try and help those bubbles kind of work their way out. And then you've got his little spikes. So you'll want to give all those just a little bit of a squeeze. Again, just making sure that we don't have any bubbles in any of those spots if we can possibly help it. And you can sort of see through this mold, so that helps. If you see, of course, it's covered in mica powder, But you can see the difference. So you can see where I'm at with the resin and where I'm not resin because it's so much darker. So you can sort of see down in there. Just do the best you can to get what you can see out. And don't be bashful about getting in there and squeezing it. Just be gentle. Get them all, but just be gentle so that you don't rub off the mica powder inside that, because you don't want to take it off and not have any coloring and have a black spot on your dragon. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the resin around his tail just to kind of get a little bit of resin going into all those little holes. There we go. So that just kind of gives it a head start so that when I do pour it up and around there, it's already wet, so it hopefully will naturally just go on in there and not give me any grief and any bubbles. So far, it's looking really good. All right, we're going to go ahead and top it off. And fill it all the way to the top. So I made up 5 ounces, and I made one of my, ooh, that's it, stop there. One of my pocket hugs. I top coated it. I needed a black layer on the back of him, and then put the rest of it in here, and that looks like it was just about perfect. So I would go ahead and make up 5 ounces, because you can always make extras out of something else. Give it a little squirt with some alcohol here, and then I'll watch this for the next 30 minutes. Yep, I overfilled it. Let's get some of that out of there. And I didn't get out my paddle to stir this up this time. I'm not entirely sure why. I think it might have made life a little easier, but I have these chopsticks and they're resined together clear up to here, so I'm not getting a ton of bubbles with it, so I don't have to worry too much about that. But I'm gonna go around the edge and wipe that off with a towel because I don't want all that residue. I don't want all that to clean up. So now we're just gonna let that sit and cure. And I'll go ahead and do the other dragon, and then we'll come back when it's time to demold. Be right back. Okay, somebody's going to be grumpy with me because I have gone ahead and unmolded our dragon set. But these guys take quite a bit of effort to get out. They're not difficult, hearsay. You just have to hold them up against you and roll things, and it just helps to be able to use it when you hold it up against yourself for an extra set of hands, if you will. So you've seen this little guy. This is our See No Evil. Let's see if I can set them down this way so you can see them all. And then we have our Hear No Evil. And last but not least, Speak No Evil. So there's our set of 3, and they are so stinking cute. I love the color on the chests. These 2 are actually different colors of powders. This one is a purple gold, and then this one's a purple teal. So I got a little goopy goop on there. And but they look very similar. So I think what I'll probably end up doing is making another set and doing one of these completely different color. Like maybe I don't even know, go with instead of doing it a purple color, maybe do it in this red green color or something along those lines. Or maybe I just do this one in purple and make them more of a matching set. I don't know. We'll see. I think they're adorable regardless. Absolutely so stinking cute. So a couple little things. So this was our first guy. I had just a little bubble here on the ear, but it's really hard to see because this ear also has a notch. It's just this one you can see the bubble made the notch just a little bit bigger. Other than that, he has one little glitch here on his belly. We had a bubble right there on that scale right here on his tummy. Other than that, he is perfect. Absolutely stinking cute. This little guy, I didn't see any blemishes on him other than this little wing. We had a bubble there. So other than that, he turned out fantastic. This one unfortunately had a couple of little flaws. So each tip of his horns, the tip of both horns, had a bubble on it. So both of these horns are blunted, which is okay. I have a friend that's already said, I'll take it if you don't want it because of these blemishes. And what I needed to do is in that mold, I needed to take my micro brush, and instead of just pouring the resin down inside of that brush, I should have taken this and went clear down to the tip of his horn. Can you see the micro brush down in there, and pushed down in there to make sure that I didn't have a bubble down in there, which is exactly what happened. I ended up with a bubble on both horns. You can see the coloring is still in there. So I should have just went down and poked that in there. And then you can see the coloring right there in the tip of his wings too, because I also had a bubble there. So next time I'll need to make sure that I push resin down into both tips of his wings so that we don't get bubbles there as well. So we do have both of these wing tips had a bubble there. And then I think I had a spike. Yep, these spikes, these three right here, had little bubbles on those. But other than that, they turned out beautifully. Absolutely love them. So what do you guys think? I think if you watched my episode a couple times ago, we did these unmarked canisters. And I think I might try doing these guys in these and see what they look like. So these are chameleon powders. And this is not. This is... I'm going to put the name of it right here because I can't think of it off the top of my head. Iridescent powder, maybe. So it's going to react to light a little differently. This, you can see the teal when you shift it. You can see the color change in his coloring from purple to that tealish blue color. And this one does the aqua to purple. And then this one does purple and green. So, but they do color shift. These do a little bit. They're more of a pearl color though. But we'll see. Maybe that'll be my next ones. We'll try and do those. So I do have those. I'll sell them as a set with the dragon egg that we made in the last one. So, and again, I don't sell these for a profit. I sell them at cost just so that I can make enough money to pay for the materials that I put into them. Shipping and handling are going to be tough on these because this is super heavy with that lid being solid. That'll be another thing that I want to try and do is figure out how to not use so much resin on the lid. So I've thought about maybe doing a balloon down inside of that lid, trying to figure out how to get a balloon down in it, pour my resin, and then put a balloon in it. But I want to make sure that I don't put, it's going to be tough to get a balloon down in there and not touch the sides or, affect the rim, or I don't know exactly how. I'm in the thinking process of that one. I would really like to see this hollowed out some so that it doesn't take nearly as much resin. And these guys almost fit in here. But the lid, obviously, they're not going to. But they wouldn't anyway. They're too big. It's hard to do this on an angle so you guys can see it. They're just too big to fit in there. But they are so stinking cute. So, all right. Well, let me know what you think. If you have any ideas, maybe a different color that we can do, and we will look into that. I'm probably not going to do another set of these right now. I anticipate I'll be getting orders for these guys for Christmas gift ideas. I have several boys of my own that would love a set, I'm sure. So I'll probably get those for them for the holidays. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some inspiration. If you want to check these out, these are all from Let's Resin. And I'll leave a link down in the description below. You guys have a fantastic day, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.